In 612 AD, a Korean army killed over 300,000 Chinese soldiers in a single afternoon. You were never told it happened. One of the bloodiest single-day defeats in recorded history. Gone. The Sui Dynasty, the most powerful empire on earth, made sure of that. And the reason they erased it is darker than the slaughter itself. The year is 612 AD. China is unified under Emperor Yang of Sui. He controls a military machine so massive, so disciplined that every neighboring kingdom trembles. Goguryeo doesn't. Goguryeo is a Korean kingdom spanning the northern Korean peninsula and Manchuria. It has fought off Chinese aggression for centuries. Emperor Yang sees that as an insult he cannot ignore, so he assembles an army. The Chinese records say 1.13 million soldiers. Even if that number is inflated and scholars debate it, the invasion force is undeniably enormous. The largest military mobilization the ancient world had ever seen. Goguryeo sends out a single general to meet them. His name is Yulji Mundiak. You've never heard of him, you should have. Yulji Mundiak doesn't fight, not yet, he retreats, slowly, deliberately drawing the Sui forces deeper into Goguryeo territory. He submits to 7 engagements and loses every single one, on purpose. The Sui commanders think they're winning. They push forward. Supply lines stretch thin. Soldiers march hundreds of miles from home, eating less every day. Then Yulji Mundiak sends the Sui commander a poem. Mocking, sarcastic, written in perfect Chinese, it praises the general's great military wisdom and dares him to keep advancing. He wants them at the Salsu River. He'd already ordered a dam built upstream. Silently, weeks before the army arrived, 300,000 soldiers begin to ford the river. The water is low, manageable. Then they open the dam. The wall of water hits them mid-stride. The formation collapses. Goguryeo cavalry closes from both flanks. The slaughter is immediate and total. Chinese records say only 2,700 men made it back out of 305,000. 2,700. That number is staggering. The Battle of Cana, the legendary Roman defeat you probably did learn about, killed around 70,000. Salsu killed more than 4 times as many, in one afternoon. Against a kingdom you've probably never heard of, Emperor Yang doesn't stop. He invades again in 613, then again in 614. Both times Goguryeo holds, both times the Sui army retreats in ruin. The repeated disasters bleed the dynasty dry. The peasants conscripted to supply these invasions revolt across the empire. Entire provinces stop paying taxes. The military collapses from within. In 618, Emperor Yang is strangled by one of his own generals. The Tang dynasty rises in his place, and here is where the story gets strange. The Tang keep records, meticulous ones. They document the Sui dynasty in exhaustive detail, its rise, its reforms, its collapse. But here's what doesn't add up. The Battle of Salsu barely appears. The records acknowledge defeats, vaguely, incompletely. The sheer scale, 300,000 dead in a single engagement, somehow never made it into the histories the way Cana made it into Roman accounts, the way Thermopylae made it into Greek ones. A defeat this catastrophic should have defined an era. Instead, it got a paragraph, a footnote, a number quietly reduced in later retellings. That's not how history works by accident. That's how history works when someone decides what gets remembered. The Sui dynasty built its legitimacy on something the Chinese emperors had claimed for centuries, the mandate of heaven. The idea that the emperor rules because heaven wills it. That military victory is proof of divine approval. 3 invasions, 3 failures, 300,000 dead in a single afternoon. That doesn't just lose a war. That shreds the mandate of heaven argument entirely. The Tang, who replaced the Sui, had a complicated problem. They couldn't repudiate the Sui entirely. Too much of their own administration borrowed from it. But they couldn't celebrate a dynasty that heaven had so visibly abandoned. The solution wasn't to lie. It was simpler than that. Reduce the numbers, spread the blame, scatter the records, let Yulji Mundiak fade, let Salsu fade, let Goguryeo's military genius dissolve into vague references to difficult terrain and supply difficulties. Korean historians preserve the battle in detail. Chinese imperial history softened it. Western curricula, built heavily on those softened records, inherited the erasure. 3 layers of suppression, each one individually explainable. Together, they erased one of the most decisive battles in human history. Think about what that means for every other great power defeat you've never heard of. Salsu wasn't unique in being erased. It was just unusually well documented on the Korean side, which is the only reason we know what happened at all. How many battles like Salsu left no Korean record? How many military disasters were quietly cleaned up before the ink dried? You were taught that history is what happened. It isn't. History is what the survivors decided to write down, and more importantly, what they decided to leave out. Yulji Mundiak killed 300,000 soldiers with a poem and a dam. The empire he defeated killed his legacy with a pen. One of those weapons left no bodies. The dam at Salsu was built in secret, weeks before the Sui army arrived, which means Yulji Mundiak knew, somehow, exactly where 300,000 soldiers would choose to cross a river they had never seen. No historical record explains how he knew. None that survived, anyway.